Coach Thomas Jones at the Statesman. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
One with Eddie going off into the sunset, you're going to be the old man on the staff. How does that feel?
As Eddie probably would say, old.
And look,
It's been an interesting 27 years. Coming close to the end of my 27th year. Uh, Multiple athletic directors, having worked for the best athletic director in America initially with the loss, and then Mike Perrin putting the BBs back in the box, and then now working with CDC, probably the most dynamic athletic director in America and probably the most powerful now. It's been quite a ride, but in the meantime, college golf at the University of Texas has sustained over time. We're 98 years old. We have 102 victories on the PGA Tour, 10 major championships with 6 major champions. And since we opened the doors at UT Golf Club in 2003, we've got 27 victories, and 5 of those are major championships from Scottie and Jordan. So I'm really appreciative about being the head golf coach, one of 5 in 98 years. And I'm super appreciative how our golf program fits in the space of Central Texas, the state of Texas, and then on a national level. And I'm also excited about going into the SEC. I think that's going to be great. We're very fortunate to win our 9th Big 12 championship since I've been here. I guess in baseball terms, that'd be pretty good. That'd be like 33%, which means I'm batting 330, or our team's batting 330. And if Kurt Bowles was hitting 330, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Kirk is not hitting 330. Bob Ballou, you're up next, please, sir.
I once had a friend tell me when I was a little nervous to ask a girl out that if you go 3 for 10, you'll be in the Hall of Fame. So I've always carried that one with me too.
Hey, you're the guy that did the Crenshaw thing and said we might win the national championship in football this year. I thought you were going to be the ultimate, what is it, the prognosticator or whatever that is.
Bob Stradamus.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
One day I'll get a prediction right. Coach, your voice has become so important in the game of college golf. Now that you're hosting, not just the regional, obviously, but what you're doing the national championships. What are some of the challenges that have come along with being that voice in this game, and also some of the opportunities that maybe you didn't have before?
Well, the number one thing is I need to keep the number one person in my life happy, and that's Pearl. And yet I'm 65 years old and I'm working harder than I ever have right now. Got a really good golf team that I'm coaching. Some really, really good guys that prove that they can really play. But the sun and the moon and the stars have come together with us hosting a regional championship here at Texas. Also having the good fortune of having coached now 2 number ones in the world. That's never happened to any program. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I give full credit to the University of Texas Golf Club and the University of Texas at Austin for allowing us to do that, because there's no way that, no matter how good a coach I think I'm a good coach, but if I'm coaching great players, I have a chance to be a great coach. And neither one of those guys, including all the guys that have had success here, would have come here had it not been for the University of Texas Golf Club. So Steve Tremere, Mike Myers, Bill Duval, who put this whole thing together for us starting in 2003, that's been the next step. So that being said, it's just amazing how it's kind of morphed into more and more and more, to the point now where the University of Texas, in association with Omni La Costa, the NCAA, and now a creation of ours called the College World Golf Championships Foundation is going to host the national championship in Texas or in California. And the funny thing about that is people ask me all the time, why would a school like Texas host a national championship in California? And it's simply because it's a neutral site. The programs out there in California didn't want to be involved. And the reason they didn't want to be involved was simply because you have a pretty good cost associated with the tournament. It's in the millions of dollars. And you have staff and time and effort. And they wouldn't mind doing that as long as their teams had an advantage coming out of it. Well, that's the whole point with a neutral site. Nobody has an advantage. And people think, well, that's just the playing part of it or the competitive part of it. But in truth, I've hosted a national championship in 1992 at New Mexico, and I was able to recruit to that for 3 years. It's what turned our program around. And Arizona State's been able to do that 3 years of hosting the national championship. When we won against them in the finals in 2022, they played that golf course 81 times. 81 times, that's our home golf course. We were able to overcome that, but we couldn't overcome some of the recruiting parts of that because there was a guy on that team that we really wanted and we didn't get him. And part of the reason was he was going to play a couple of national championships on his home golf course. And that's a great recruiting tool. But the coaches wanted a neutral site, and the only big brother that was willing to do it was the University of Texas. And I'm really in debt to Chris Del Conte for doing that because he raised the Texas flag when the deal was about to die, and we got it done.
But do you feel your voice? Like, do you sense all of those things that you're getting to do now as pressure or challenges or opportunity or any of that stuff? Like, do you get that sense now of how big your voice is in this game?
I think so. I was thinking about that the other day because I listen to coaches talk all the time. We have podcasts that we listen to, and sometimes when you look at your success, I guess the best way to put it is I never have looked at myself as successful yet because my program is not over with. And I think we're just driven to that part of success, but never really being able to grab it. Now, I know that even when I first got the job at Texas, 1997, I'd only been a coach for 10 years. But people did listen to me differently when I was the head golf coach at the University of Texas. And now that we've had a modicum of success, 9 Big 12 championships, multiple regional championships, 100 plus team championships over a 27-year period that included 2 national championships. And I was president of the College Golf Coaches Association of America in 2006-07. And now with the College World Golf Championships Foundation, I think that I recognize the importance of or the value of what we've assumed, but I don't necessarily think it's me. I think that everybody that's helped us along the way, Pearl and I call them angels, and you can't be successful at Texas without angels. So I do know that I have a voice in college golf. And really, to be honest with you, I feel like college golf is the center of the sun with regards to golf in this world. And that's because junior golfers and high school golfers and their parents want these kids, both boys and girls, to matriculate into college golf. And from there, Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, junior college, Division I, Division II. From there, these kids emanate out. Some of them aspire up to major championship status. Scottie Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods from Stanford. And there's so many more that have gone on and been PGA professionals and won tournaments. But the others become the club managers of this world. They become the golf professionals of the world. They teach golf. They are superintendents for agronomy on golf courses. And then on the other side of that, you have doctors and lawyers and real estate agents and salespeople that have emanated out of college golf that utilize golf for their business purposes. And so I think, truth be known, we're the center of the sun. So we need to do a great job with college golf and grow it. And that's exactly what this uh, desire is for Omni La Costa to be the permanent site for the national championship so that we can get better and better and better. And someday 10,000 people are out there watching men's and women's golf because it's San Diego, because the weather's pretty darn good. And you've got all the different fun things that little kids can do. And in the meantime, come out and watch college golf.
Dennis, go ahead, please, sir.
Coach, great seeing you. When you were talking about Scottie, I mean, you recruited. I mean, one state, I can't remember how many. I mean, he stacked those, and then he did what he did here. But with that said, and you knew who he was, are you surprised at just the ridiculously high level he's hitting right now? Because, you know, he's starting to be mentioned with Tiger.
Well, he did do some very special things in junior golf and high school golf, starting with the fact that there's only 2 guys on the planet that won United States junior championships and 3 consecutive state high school championships. And that's Jordan Spieth and Scottie Scheffler. So when you start discerning down the career that they had leading up to their college career, where Scottie Scheffler was the NCAA Freshman of the Year, 3-time All-American, Walker Cupper, and played in 2 U.S. Opens with low amateur in one of those. Is it surprising to me? I think it's just more of a blessing. It's not really. My vision for him was big. I always thought that he would get out on tour and have success and have a career. To then matriculate up to being #1 in the world, just like Jordan. And then playing the type of golf that, like you said, it's Tiger-esque right now because he's amongst the best ball strikers in the world. He's a really fine putter. His short game is phenomenal. And beyond that, he's a better person than any of those things we just discussed. So long story short, thank God for Scottie Scheffler right now because the game of golf needs him and he is delivering.
Well, and you mentioned him as a person. I know all these guys, you become kind of a proud pop in a way because, I mean, you're at a big part of their lives as far as molding them as young men. How proud are you of him? How much do you keep up with him? Just the person, Scottie Scheffler, has become.
Well, every weekend is pretty much a blessing for Pearl and I because we've got so many different guys out there on tour. Parker Cootie, Pearson Cootie, Cole Hammer, and then you got Jonathan Vegas, Dylan Fratelli, Kramer Hickok, Cody Gribble, Bo Hostler, Doug Gim. But for Scottie, we do keep in touch. I mean, he's going to be one of our bigger philanthropists here pretty soon for college golf and for University of Texas golf. He and his wife Meredith, and Meredith, having gone to Texas A&M, we just love Meredith. I mean, she was out there on the range watching him hit golf balls his junior and senior year on a more than an occasional basis, and it's one of those things. It's kind of rare, but we welcomed her, and she's been incredible. And if you ask me, you know, why Scottie Scheffler has some incredible people around him, whether it's Randy Smith, his longtime teacher, who's top 3 in the world, Ted Scott, probably top 3 in the world as a caddy, and then his wife Meredith is just phenomenal in every way. So he's a very special person, and we're able to stay in touch. He cares about college golf. I texted with him yesterday because he's wanting to play in our alumni pro-am when we win the Georgia game, and F1 is in town and everything else, I guess. Kurt, if this is your swan song or anybody on this call, next year is going to be pretty phenomenal with the schedule and the things that are happening in Austin, Texas.
Kirk, go ahead, please. Unmute yourself, please.
He might have had a heart attack when I said that.
Might have. I'm glad you've had a modicum of success. I
Thank you.
congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
You said
That means
number
a lot. Hey, that means a lot coming from you.
one. I know you
I've
said
never been on the wrong side of you yet.
ever.
I don't think so.
You
I
keep
don't think
that modicum of success and you won't be.
so. Okay.
You said you've been lucky enough to have two number ones in the world. Do you have a third number one in the world on your roster
Coming.
now?
I mean, I've got a couple of really, really fine players that if everything was to go right and they were able to assume that value, I think that the important thing is for the player, whether it was Jordan or Scottie, for whatever reason in their mind, it's planted in their mind that it's okay to do what they're doing, right? So a lot of people might have the talent and the ability, maybe even the right circumstances, but for whatever reason, it's just not all right to do what they're doing, and they don't achieve that. I think Tom Kite and Ben Crenshaw were in that same category where it was just okay to do what they did. They won 19 times on tour, 3 major championships between them. Now, Ben, super talented and blessed with unbelievable ability. Tom Kite worked his way into what he is. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it was their parents. I don't know if it was Austin, Texas at the time. Whatever it was, maybe it was Harvey. But whatever it was okay to do what they did. And there are guys with those kind of abilities that never achieve that status. And I think it's just simply because of the belief. So with regards to Scottie and Jordan, I think for whatever, they have that intrinsic belief. I call it delusional confidence because it's like you don't know where it comes from. And you can't really explain it. It's kind of like it, right? What Coach Royal termed it. They have it, and I don't know why, but they have it.
Well, how about your roster now? Do you have somebody special, or do you feel like you really like the quality across the board with your
No, I
rotation?
like the quality across the board. Christian Moss is top 15 in the world from South Africa. He's still getting his feet on the ground, even though he's been here almost 2 years now. Tommy Morrison, 6'9", incredible golfer and maybe the new prototype for golf going forward. Keaton Bowe from local, from Austin, Texas, is a great young man with tremendous abilities. We're still working on his game management and things like that, but boy, he's a super talented guy. Brian Stark has unbelievable ability, but he's a senior. And then Nathan Petronzio, unbelievable ability also. Senior from Lake Travis High School that played 3 years at SMU, graduated with a degree from there, and now he's in our sports management master's program. But he's just now getting his feet on the ground. He's special. If we can get him to putting really consistently good, I think he's outstanding as well. He's a really good ball striker. Again, it just comes down to, is it okay in your mind? So I'd like to dig deep in there. I do think I'm coaching a couple guys that think that way, for sure.
Kirk, anything else, sir?
Yeah, can you win this whole thing? How tough is your field, would you say? Got a lot of SEC teams in there.
Yeah, Tennessee's really strong. Arkansas, they've been here before, so the coach is familiar with the golf course. None of the players are going to be familiar with the golf course. Georgia's pretty strong. I count ourselves in there. I know that we've got a legitimate shot to win this regional, and I know that it's a blessing to be at home and playing a hill country golf course, because that's very similar to a desert golf course where you have target-oriented fairways and maybe some canyons and different things that are associated with the golf course. And I think what Roy Bechtel did with regards to the design here, Randy Russell and Roy Bechtel with the massage from our different tour players, they created a really cool college golf venue that has produced a couple of national championships and 27 tour victories. So obviously there's something really good at UT Golf Course or UT Golf Club. And I think that we'll be super competitive in this group of teams that will be here for the regional.
Thanks, John.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Wallace, please go ahead, sir.
First, congratulations to Kirk on his retirement. I think I just read it on Twitter. Hey, John, there's home field advantages where it usually pertains more to the atmosphere than the actual field. Course is a much different story. What is the positives? And then there's the old, so many distractions. Any negative to playing on your home course and maybe expecting to play well because it's your home course?
Well, I think you start with the game of golf, and you always have respect for the game of golf. Number one, if you don't have respect for the game of golf, it'll grab you by the neck and put your face in the ground and see how you come up. But we do have respect for the game, and we will know going in. It's kind of a double-edged sword, meaning that yes, we know this golf course backwards and forward. Yes, we know where to hit it, where not to hit it, and how to score on this golf course. The danger is always when you're hosting is that your kids want to overperform because they, like you just pointed out, have higher expectations of themselves because they feel like they have an advantage. And in truth, that's where the coaching is really pertinent and important because we can help mitigate both sides of that equation and approach this just like all the golf tournaments that we play in, but also to give ourselves a great opportunity to utilize our talents and not put a significant amount of pressure on ourselves. So kind of depressurize the situation where we can. And that's up to us. That's where my experience and their experience will kind of collide and hopefully we come up with a really good positive equation so that they can utilize their talents at the highest level and just play golf.
Jeff Jones, go ahead, please, sir.
Coach, a moment ago, you spoke about certain golfers just having it. Right now, it seems like the Longhorns as an athletic department might just have it. 12 conference championships. Do you feel like a different energy vibe on campus? And have you been around something like this where all the programs seem to be performing at an extremely high level?
Well, it's interesting because if you don't talk about these things, they don't happen. And at the beginning of the summer, we had our coaches retreat, and we all knew it was imminent that we're going to the SEC. Chris Del Conte laid it all out for us. And at the time, he had taken a lot of arrows. So had our president for the move to the SEC. So his direction at that time to his coaches was, we want to leave by making a statement. And that would be that we could possibly win a multitude of championships as opposed to just one or two, kind of run the table, as you might say, and or as I might say, and just get up there and start making shots. And that's what our programs have done. I think there's a tremendous synergy connected to what we're doing. And I think it started with a big win against Alabama on their home field. And we have a really cool group of coaches that are extremely successful, but it seems to me that everybody cares about each other. And the reason that is because Chris Del Conte treats us all fairly equally, I would say. In sports, you hear that you earn your treatment. But I think he knows that every one of us is giving it our absolute best. And as a result, he treats us extremely good, gives us the opportunity to win, and then it's up to all of us, teams and coaches.
Thomas Jones, go ahead, please, sir.
Coach, you mentioned Keaton Vo earlier. He some of us saw him in high school, one of our more talented young golfers to come out of Austin. What does he do particularly well as a young golfer? And how would you describe that next step of his development? What does he need to do?
Well, he's got a high ceiling It's just consistency, making great decisions out on the golf course. He drives it really well. He is a really fine ball striker. I think he's got to refine his thought process out there on the golf course more and more comfort at a high level. So when he gets in the heat, that he begins to start pulling off things and then starts winning, and then he may never look back once that starts happening. So that's the equation right now. We've visited with him on that on a more than occasional basis. He's doing a great job.
Thomas, any follow-up on that, sir? Bob, go back to you, please, sir.
Coach, I've got two questions for you just to follow up a little bit on what Thomas asked about Keaton, but switch it to a different player. How's Jacob doing, and kind of what's his process been like to obviously not be getting the reps that he wants to get, but trying to work his way back in?
Yeah, he just every one of these kids takes their own path, and in Jacob's case, I started the fall with just kind of a bang, playing really, really well, and for whatever reason, it just kind of fell off starting in January, and it really never has rekindled. It might happen today. I don't know. They're out playing the U.S. Open qualifying at Escondido, so you never know. But he's not done. He's a fine player, and he's going to be a really fine player over time. He's adjusting to life as a college golfer, as a student at the University of Texas, and all those things that are intrinsic to that. And we're working hard to get him back on the right path, and we'll see how it goes.
And then second, I feel like we talk so much about Scottie that sometimes Jordan and where he is right now kind of gets left out. I have so many questions, I think, right now, probably as a lot of people do, just about where he is from a mental side of things. Like, you watch him at the Valero Texas Open and he makes a hole in one and doesn't even really react. Like, it's like sometimes you feel like he's not enjoying himself the way he acts, and then he hits one off the roof, and he does, all those things, and then he goes to the Masters and he says, "Yeah, the Valero was a really calming experience." And you just kind of, I'm just curious, like, how much you've talked to him and where you think he is from a mental state as he tries to make that climb, back to number one in the world.
I know he wants to. I know he wants to absolutely be right there, and it's difficult for him because he knows he's a heck of a competitor and a great player, and it just isn't happening right now. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Two children that are now part of the family, and he's working diligently as a player's rep on the PGA policy board, and that's a time-consuming part of his life, but it's very important, and he recognizes that and takes the responsibility to do that. But that being said, I know he's not comfortable. He's not happy, and he's not going to be happy until he gets back to where he wants to. And it wouldn't surprise me here pretty soon that they get things wrapped up, and that for sure Live and PGA Tour get back together, and you got the best players in the world playing against each other. And so, long story short, I think he'll be back. I don't know when that's going to be. I think you're right that there's definitely some distractions there. He'll eliminate those, and he'll be back.
Are you saying that you think kids might affect Scottie too?
I think everybody's like.
I feel like I just feel like nothing affects Scottie.
Well, I don't know how in the world it couldn't, right? I mean, your life changes when you have kids, and that means you have to rebalance and do that. He hadn't had to do that yet, but he will. And they're probably going to have, I don't know, they might have a really big family. It wouldn't surprise me.